Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater Soundcheck. This time out, a Sweetwater exclusive recording solution from Avalon Design. Let's get started. The Avalon V55 has been a very popular tool for recording a lot of different sources in the studio. It can do a number of different things. It can be a DI, a microphone preamp, a reamping solution. It has tone shaping. So what we've done is bring you a Sweetwater exclusive version of the V5, the V55. This includes two complete V5s. They're independent units that are behind this single front panel. Very easy to operate and gives you a ton of power and a ton of versatility for recording in the studio. A little later in this video, I'll show you several different ways that you can put the V55 to work in your studio for reamping, DI recording, and using a microphone to record sources. But let's take a quick tour of the unit before we start. Maybe the best way to look at the V55 is to look at how the signal flows through the unit, because we have a lot of possibilities for input and output. On the input, we have three different choices. You could run a DI in from an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, or an electric bass. The DI input has a 10 mega ohm impedance, so it's going to work well with a variety of different pickups and direct sources. We can also route balanced or unbalanced line level signals into the V55, so you could record stereo keyboards using this unit. Finally, we have a microphone input, and you actually have two different ways you can set that up. With a switch here, you choose line level input, instrument level input, or we can do high or low impedance for microphones. With low impedance, that's going to be better for condenser microphones, and we have 48 volt phantom power available in that setting. The high impedance is going to work well with passive ribbon mics and dynamic microphones. To shape the input, we have two different possibilities. First of all, we have a high cut filter here. We can turn that on and off with this switch. What that does is roll off some of the high end, and it's voiced specifically for acoustic guitar pickups. But perhaps the most powerful tone shaping tool we have available for the input sources is this tone control right here. We can switch that on and off, and then we have a 10 position rotary control that gives us different voicings. And these range from low frequency roll off to high frequency lift, which is going to be great on vocals. In between, we have a number of different settings that give us different frequency curves. There's mid-range dips, things that are going to be great for bass guitar, things that are going to work well for acoustic guitar. So you can quickly dial in presets and choose the one that's going to sound best on your source. Rounding things out on the front panel, we have a gain control here, and the gain range changes depending on what type of input you're using, whether you're using DI, a line, or a mic level signal. We also have a polarity invert switch, and we have a pad switch. And again, the amount of pad that's applied depends on the type of input signal that you're using. Rounding out the front panel, we have an input for an instrument level signal or a DI input. Now, when we look at the back panel, there are a lot of different connection sources here, and that's where a lot of the flexibility of this unit comes in. Beginning on the upper right, we have a headphone output, so you can monitor directly off the V55. Then we have line level inputs on both balanced 1/4 inch as well as XLR and a microphone level input. The through jack allows you to route your DI input straight through to an amplifier, so you can monitor the amplifier or record it at the same time that you're recording a direct signal. Below this, we have another 1/4 inch jack that's labeled -18 dB to amplifier, and this is used for reamping. So if we record a direct track into our DAW, we can bring that back out via that jack to the input of our amplifier and re-record it with a new tone. I'll show you how that works a little bit later. Finally, we have line level XLR and 1/4 inch outputs. The nice thing about the V55 is that it's very easy to understand, actually. If you think about the way the signal flows through it, it makes perfect sense. And once you've figured out one side, the other side is exactly identical. So you have two of the same thing inside one rack, and this gives us a lot of versatility. But of course, the main feature of the V55 is going to be the sound quality of that V5. There's plenty of gain on the front end, and it's a nice, round, fat-sounding preamp. Great for DI, but also great for bass guitar, and as a microphone preamplifier, sounds great in a wide variety of different sources. And don't forget that we can shape that input using the tone control, so we can really dial things in exactly the way we want them. The specs on the V55 are simply outstanding. We have very low noise levels, extremely wide frequency response, very low distortion, so it's going to give you a nice, pure, transparent recording, along with the coloration from the internal transformers, which come from the 737 preamplifier from Avalon. To give you an idea how versatile the V55 is, let's look at several different ways we can use it in the studio. To begin, let's record an electric guitar track that'll give us some possibilities for changing things later on. What I'll do is use the two sides of the V55 separately. So on one side, I'm routing my guitar in as a DI signal, and we'll record that DI to one track in Pro Tools. The other side of the V5 we're using as a microphone preamp with the dynamic microphone on a Fender Deluxe amp. So we'll be simultaneously capturing the DI along with a mic damp tone into Pro Tools. Now, since we recorded that DI track, we have a lot of possibilities for reshaping the tone after the fact. So let's say we want to have a completely different guitar tone than what we recorded on our original track, the clean deluxe sound. I'm going to look for a little crunchier tone. So what I'll do is bring the output from my DAW back into one channel of the Avalon. We'll set it for line level input. Then we're going to come out of the -18 to amplifier jack, which gives us an instrument level signal coming out, and we'll bring it back into the amplifier, which is set up for a completely different tone. Very easy to do. All we had to do was shift 2 cables. So let's record that. As my final example today, I can use the V55 to use guitar pedals to process my recording. So what I'll do is I'll take the output from the first track we recorded, the clean track from the Deluxe, we'll route that back into one side of the V55, so it'll be coming into the line level input. We'll take that -18 to amplifier output and route that to the input of my pedal board. The output from the pedal board comes back into the other side of the V55 as a DI input, and we'll record that to a new track. This allows me to use my pedals to process that previously recorded amplifier sound. And in fact, I can actually monitor right off of the V55 because there's a headphone jack in the back. Now this is just a sampling of the things you can do using the V55. It's a great straight-ahead microphone preamp as well, so if you want to use this on an acoustic guitar with a microphone, it's going to sound wonderful. You could record a bass directly into it. In fact, if you combine the V55 with a compressor, you've got an all-in-one channel strip that can handle virtually any source that you'll encounter in your studio. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Sweetwater exclusive V55 from Avalon Designs. Super versatile 2-channel recording solution, allows for DI, reamp, preamplification of mic, line, and DI signals. Lots of different things you can do here, and with 2 of them in one chassis, it's incredibly versatile. Definitely check this out. Sounds great, and a very powerful addition to your studio arsenal. Thanks for joining me for Sweetwater Soundcheck. I'm Mitch Gallagher.